Hey everybody, my name is Kozak, and the reason for me putting on this video is to essentially explain how bodybuilding.com and the Shortcut to Shred Jim Stepani workout program saved my life. Now, I'm going to do my best not to get emotional. It's a pretty extreme subject, but hopefully the details don't cause too much of unhealthy impact for the viewers. For those of you that get to watch this, I've been planning this video since the start of the competition. Now, what you see here is basically just a collective sum of some of the things that I've put together. I put the 2018 250K challenge up here. I've got the Shortcut to Shred calendar that I first started with. It's the very first program that I've ever completed in my entire life. These are the in-body results for the calculations for statistics since I started my transformation. And essentially, these yellow stickers that you see here are my story. And I think that the reason that I'm deciding to film this is because if it wasn't for bodybuilding.com, I'd probably not be alive. And I'm not saying that to be dramatic. I'm not saying that to try to get an edge over other people in the competition. I'm doing this because I felt it was necessary for me to share gratitude towards what I've gone through and basically what this competition means to me and my family. Now, first and foremost, I want to give a round of applause to everybody that's in the competition. I know how hard I had to work to get the results that I did. And I know the people in my gym and my community and my family and all of the people on social media, not to mention the groups with bodybuilding.com and all the, the newsletters and the supplements and all the stuff that supported the transformation. My hat goes off to every one of you. Even those that didn't make it, I understand how hard it is to complete such a competition. For those of you that have been submitting your pictures, some of you guys are just extreme. You guys are doing amazing things, and I'm very, very inspired to be competing against you. You push me to become the best that I can be. For those of you that had ups and downs, I'm going to talk a little bit about my personal journey, and I'm going to do so as quick as possible because I don't want this video to be a movie, but I do want it to shed light on some key factors that I think are very important. First of all, let me kind of explain. I started my journey into fitness before I even knew bodybuilding.com had a competition coming on. And I'm going to explain why I did that. Because last year, in the middle of the summer, I basically died. And I'll get into the details to that when we get into this, but this competition is one of the reasons why I was able to, get my life back. Now, when I was a child, I'm going to explain some things here, and if I get a little emotional, I apologize, but this is the real deal for me. And basically, when I was a child, I had a loving family. I had food in my stomach. I had a great home, and my parents were business owners. My grandparents were great people, but I didn't have any self-esteem at all. I was loved by many, but I did not love myself. And when I was younger, I actually had situations where I was abused, not by my family, but by external factors. And we don't need to get into the details of that. I don't think it's important, but let's just say it was quite traumatic. And as a result of that, at the age that I was in, I basically turned to food, because I was a kid at that time, and that's all I knew how to do was eat, and that's how I hid my emotions. That's how I became extremely addicted. I developed addictive personalities, addictive behaviors. It was how I coped with things, and basically, as a young child, I developed an unhealthy addiction towards food and basically aggression. I became an aggressive child. And the result of this, for the fact that I didn't have anybody to really talk to or to deal with it, is that I became an obese child. I remember I was close to 280 pounds by the age of 11. I had knee problems. I could never ever really get to the first line of any football or hockey team that I played for. Never had the girlfriend in school. Never had the confidence to be myself. And as a result of that, I basically became very isolated. I basically acted out. I developed unhealthy ego, and I became aggressive. I was very good in school, scholastically. I was very an overachiever in terms of grades, but when it came to communication skills and being who I was supposed to be and loving myself and being a loving person, I didn't know what that meant, right? And let's not lose sight of the fact that the only way I could deal with that was with food. And so I'm 5'7" now at age 33, and you can only imagine at that age I was a very short, very fat kid. Okay, now fast forward to my teenage and adulthood. Okay, as I grew up through teenage years, obviously I carried these things over. And for any of you guys that are watching this that maybe can relate with this, I was always afraid. I was afraid of what people thought of me. I was afraid of being lonely. I was afraid I would never find a girlfriend. I was afraid that I had even worse low self-esteem. And as a result of that, I basically felt like an outcast. And as much as my friends said that I was popular, and you know, my family said that it doesn't matter what other people think, to me it did. To me it truly did. And as I became a teenager and an adult, obviously the addictions basically escalated, and they went from food to food and drugs and alcohol. And I became a full-blown addict and alcoholic at the age of 16. What ended up happening is that I was an honor roll student, but I ended up nearly losing my education. I ended up carrying the obesity, the isolation, and the low self-esteem through that because I just turned to food, drugs, and alcohol to mask my pain. And what happened during that time is that I developed what would be considered the worst lifestyle one could ever want to have. And I ended up getting a girlfriend, a fiance, ex-fiance now, and we were together for a while. We grew together as much as we could. But what happened is that because of the wrong choices that I was making and the lifestyle that I was living as a result of my addictions and my poor self-esteem and not getting rid of my past and becoming a man that I am today, I overdosed on drugs and alcohol last year. And my heart collapsed, my heart stopped, my lungs collapsed, and I had a seizure 2 times. And I was left for dead in my home. My family didn't know what had happened. My sister didn't know. My friends didn't know. Nobody knew. Because I didn't have friends. I didn't have people that I wanted to talk to. I isolated. When I left my fiance and we split up, I didn't know how to deal with life on life's terms because I wasn't strong enough. I wasn't making healthy choices. I wasn't dealing with what life required. And when I checked myself into the hospital, I thought the only way out was suicide. I have pictures of me going in and out of the hospital because I called a counselor and I said that I basically I don't want to die today, so can you please help me? And I basically checked myself into the psychiatric ward where I didn't understand why, because I wasn't suicidal my whole life. I was never suicidal. I never thought I had any type of mental illness or anything like that. And as a result of that, I think it was just me looking for an easy way out. Right, and that's the truth. That's the God's honest truth. But the truth is that I did die. I remember seeing a big flash of white light. I remember waking up and being on the floor and basically trying to figure out what happened. And I know that that's an overdose. And based off what the doctor said, that I was basically dying. So where does that bring me to now? Right? You say, okay, so what, Sean? You have addiction problems, or okay, you had some childhood issues. Who doesn't? You're right. Everybody out there has issues, probably worse than mine. But I was faced with a decision, And when I went to the doctor after getting out of the hospital, they said that I had an infection in my lungs. I was a smoker at the time. They said that it was spreading to my heart and I was going to die. And if I hadn't gone to visit my family and seen the doctors there, that I would have never actually made it. The doctors put me on medication. They were able to kill the infection. I quit smoking. And that's where I started exercising and training. Now, before I even knew about the 250K 2018 challenge, I had to make a decision. I was spared. God gave me a second chance at life. And if I didn't do something about this, then I would never do something about this. And I've made a choice mentally, spiritually, physically, that I would not let my childhood addictions and results from when I did not deal with myself dictate my future. And I took that second chance and I made my decision. I made my decision to commit to health and wellness. I made my decision to put fitness and change first. Because if I don't change who I was inside and outside at the same time, I would not love myself. And I'm a firm believer that if you change how you look, you change how you feel. And because I never looked good to myself my entire life, I knew that I needed to do that first. And as a result of doing that, what I did was I started doing a lot of research. I started doing a lot of research on bodybuilding.com because I found that they were the major source of information. And I know you're watching this right now, but I'm an analytical person. I own a financial software company. My job is to be analytical. When I died, I nearly lost my business. I lost my staff. I had to rebuild my company from the ground up, and I had to rebuild my life from the ground up in a very short period of time, or I would have nothing left. And so it was a serious tipping point in my life, just like they say on TSN. It's a serious tipping point in the game of life, and for me it was either act on my decisions now or die and be left with nothing. And so what I did was I ended up starting to box, and I ended up starting to train self-directed, and basically I was preparing myself for something. I didn't know what I was doing. I really didn't have any skills. I trained in the gym growing up playing football and hockey, but I was always fourth line. I was never any experience, and I lost some weight, right? So I started this decision. I was about 250 pounds, and I'm 5'7", right? So I was very overweight. The pictures I'll be submitting with this video, so you'll be able to see the pre-challenge pictures. And basically what I did was when I heard about the challenge, I said, this is it. I said, if I'm really going to do something with my life, I can't do this by myself. I couldn't do it. I literally could not do it. I needed to be accountable, not just to a trainer, but to a group of people. I needed to be involved with, social media and be a part of society. And basically what ended up happening is I started researching the shortcut to shred. Now I want to make a very special thanks to a man that does not know me. Jim Stepani saved my life. I've been trying to lose weight my whole life. And it's the first competition, it's the first training program that I ever successfully completed. It was such an extreme competition that even the owners of the gym said they've never seen a transformation so fast in their entire lives. And it was because I just didn't want to die anymore. I didn't want to go down this path of just killing myself for the rest of my life. And I enrolled in the challenge because I believed in the science. I believed in the information that I was reading, and I've never ever committed to myself in my entire life. I committed to business because it made me money, but I didn't commit to myself. And that's the number one reason why I was where I was. So I want to basically explain what happened in this transformation. I learned how to eat. I learned how to train, right? I learned how to live. I learned how to basically depend on resources that were proven. I learned how to become a person of mental and physical mindset around transformation. And where I am today, and I went through the ups and downs. I literally, and I'll explain this, I literally went through challenges. And the reason I went through these in-body challenges is because I was dropping body weight for a period of time. My whole life, I thought that if I weighed less, that I would look better and I would feel better. But the problem was that wasn't really my true heart's desire. It wasn't my goal. My goal was to look amazing and feel amazing, because if you feel good about how you look, your life changes around you. So basically what happened is that I realized that I got to a point of weight loss that was to the point where it's like, okay, that's not really healthy. I don't want to lose weight and just win a competition by weighing less. I want to lose body fat percentage. And I want to transform my arms. I want to transform my shoulders. I want to transform my body. Now remember, I was very overweight, so I have some stretched skin, and that was something that's always weighed on my mind, that's been very, very psychologically challenging to me. But then I look at women who have had children, and I look at other people that have been very, very large, and you know, they are dealing with the same things as me. So the truth is to not give up on myself after the competition. But what really was the tipping point for me was when I was doing the Jim Stepani's program, and then we started talking about the intermittent fasting. What happened was when I got to the end of the program, I was only halfway through the competition. So what I did was I just said, well, this is working so good, I'm just going to redo it. Because I went through a week where I didn't know whether I was going to continue doing the gym or doing something else. I said, well, why would I want to change something that's working so good? It's flawless. I was losing a pound of body fat per week, and I was gaining a pound of muscle per week simultaneously. So I was transforming my body. I wasn't losing body weight, but I was losing basically the fat that was basically creating the mental block that was giving me low self-esteem. So I just did my final weigh-in, and I just want to explain what happened. And I have a new life today. I rebuilt my company. I've been sober for almost a year, which is a blessing. Before my last relapse, I had close to 5 years clean before I went through the separation with my ex-fiance, and that's basically was the tipping point. What was interesting is that I have a new perspective on health. I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't do drugs. I get up in the morning and I train. Basically, one of the things that I want to talk about is that I've made new friends. In the gym, I'm respected. I'm respected by the owners. I'm respected by some of the people that are competing at a world title level. They're saying that I'm leaving an impact around my community, and I have a future now because I've created a lifestyle for myself that allows me to leave this competition and just start it over and just to continue it, right? You know, I love to inspire. I believe that my second chance in life was to basically share love and act on inspiration. I live my life by gratitude because I write down things that I'm grateful for every day before I hit the gym. I start my day doing cardio every morning, and then I end up doing the gym at night. I do 2 a days, and I train 6 to 7 days a week. It's a lifestyle for me. And I'll be honest with you, I couldn't get a day or two in a row for 32 years. I just want to say thank you. I know I got a little emotional there. I didn't plan that. Jim and his program, the bodybuilding.com transformation contest, the people, the inspiration, the other members, the photographs, the videos, the funny jokes, the commentary, all of that's fine and dandy, but I can't stress enough that this was life or death for me. And I don't know if I've transformed my body enough to win the competition, but for the past 101 days, I've wrote down in my gratitude book that I believe that I deserve a chance. And I just want to know that if I can do this, if I could do this, a recovering addict who died a year ago, that was a smoker and that had battled drug addictions and alcohol, who was left for dead in a home where nobody knew me, I just want to thank you because you can too. And my family thanks you, my staff thanks you, my friends thank you, and most of all, I thank you. I want to thank everybody for giving me the opportunity to film this video. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, and I want to thank God for giving me an opportunity to transform my life. And most importantly, depending on the chances of the competition around the world, I want to say congratulations to everybody. And at the very least, I would appreciate if somebody could at least call me back or write me an email and let me know what they think about the before and after pictures. And I'll also send some photos of what happened before the transformation, so you can see the condition I was in when I came out of the hospital. So thank you so much, and I'm truly inspired to start another competition as soon as this one ends. God bless everybody.